right now we're seeing this push towards a, let's say, trustless, decentralized system in which the user is control of their own data, which is great because who doesn't want to be in control of their own data? But when we're doing this kind of switch, then we need to make sure that if we are speaking with someone in this decentralized universe, that we can trust the person that we're speaking to. So let's say you have a driver license, you want to then verify that that's some kind of entity, then we need to make sure we can trust that.
All right, welcome back inside our proactive newsroom. And joining me now is Jonathan Patscheider. He is the vice president of TrustStamp. And Jonathan, it's great to see you again. How are you?
I'm good. Thank you, Steve. Good to see you as well.
Yeah, so the company out with some news about a partnership with Partisia is the name of the company. And this all has to do with biometric holder binding. So obviously the first question is, what is that? Why is it so critical?
Yeah, that's a great question. So right now we're seeing this push towards a, let's say, trustless, decentralized system in which the user is control of their own data, which is great because who doesn't want to be in control of their own data? But when we're doing this kind of switch, then we need to make sure that if we are speaking with someone in this decentralized universe, that we can trust the person that we're speaking to. So let's say you have a driver license, you want to then verify that that's some kind of entity, then we need to make sure we can trust that. And what we're seeing today is that we are making a lot of progress towards just verifying the device, but not the person actually behind the device. So the whole notion of biometric holder binding is that we can make sure that when we're speaking to people in this system, that it's the rightful and intended owner of the certificates, of the digital assets, of whatever it might be. And that is really what the solution is all about, making sure that if you have a driver license, if you have some digital asset, then you are the rightful and intended owner of those assets.
Okay, so tell me a bit about this partnership that you have and how it sort of adds, it really combines your technology and their technology together to create what you're talking about.
Yeah, so Partisia, they're a super cool company, and they have some very cool technology. And what they really do is the three pieces of technology combined into this. There is Partisia's multi-party computation technology that allows for the creation, holding, and verification of different certificates. And then we bring our technology into the mix. And what we really can do here is that we can go a bit further. So when we're talking about, now I mentioned biometric holder binding, that is of course about utilizing their biometric to make sure you're the holder of some kind of certificate. That usually centers around storing the actual biometric or the private key. But what we do in this kind of solution is that we go that step further where we're not storing any biometric data or not storing any information of the private key. So that means that you basically become the key. And when you want to regenerate the key, all you have to do is being live in front of the camera. So you can create the sort of the certificate on the go and verify who you are on the go without storing any data with any third-party provider. So that gives a lot of ease for the end user. So what we really have here is a reusable biometric bound credential system that allows users to interact across different areas without revealing the underlying information. And then the last part of the technology to that is then Partisia's guards network that allows for that interoperability across different chains. So that means if you're working on one chain, then you can take that data and actually verify it and check it across different chains without revealing the underlying information.
Yeah, obviously there's a number of key industries that this would really benefit. It's more of the more regulatory, high security demand sectors. Is that sort of accurate?
Yeah, so right now we're seeing a push both from, let's say, a governmental sector, but also for a institution sector to modernize, let's say, identity systems to give, well, first of all, to be compliant with the new demands, but also to give users that ability to become control of their own data. And what we're really trying to do is give them those tools so they can have a decentralized system in which they can trust the end users, but still be compliant with the regulatory aspects of it. So what we have here today is we see there is a current solution that either built on password or let's say, but then there's also solutions that go maybe a step further that they rely on something called pass keys. But what we really do here is then that's the whole notion of now we're just verifying the devices once again. So that means if the device is compromised or someone has access to the device, then they can start to impersonate you. And what I often bring into that mix is I know a lot of my family members different credentials because I help them out with various things. But it also means that I can now impersonate them. So if a fraudster get access to that phone, then they can start impersonate those people. And when we're talking about this trustless, decentralized system, what we really want to make sure is that there's no risk of doing this, and we want to make sure that we have that biometric holder binding for those users without storing any sensitive information of the biometrics of the private key data.
Yeah. The nefarious types are getting smarter. They're getting a lot more, and it's solutions like this that are so important and needed for sure, Jonathan. Hey, thanks very much. Great to get an update on what this means, and we look forward to continuing to follow the story, okay?
Thank you, Steve.
All right, there's Jonathan Patscheider. He is the Vice President of TrustStamp.